Welcome to Module 7 of your Shamanic Transcendence Therapy training and the STT Space Holders training. This is really a special one because until now you've been learning tools, techniques, and practices like NLP, naturopathy, alter states, shamanic rituals, somatic awareness, so much. But here we pause. This is not about adding more, is about weaving it all together. So integration is where healing becomes transformation. Without integration, even the most powerful ceremony or sessions is like a seed left sitting in the windowsill with no water, no light, nothing whatsoever. With integration, that seed is planted, watered, and tended to, and it grows into a tree that will feed the humanity for a lifetime. So let's start looking at the nature of integration. Every wisdom tradition has said the same thing. Transformation is not completed in the fire of initiation. It is completed in the slow work afterwards. This is where we unravel, where we let it sink in, where really we take everything on board. It's how you live, how you walk, and how you breathe. So all that beautiful wisdom has to become part of you and part of the people that you're taking through this incredible transformations that you're planning. So the Druids knew this. They spoke of the awen, the divine inspiration that comes in the moment. But inspiration alone is not enough. It must be carried into life like a torch and woven into the daily rhythms so that really it becomes part of a new reality, a new way of being, a new way of being in your heart. Modern neuroscience tells us the same thing in a different language. Neurons that fire together wire together. So a single insight does not change the brain. It's the repetition, the reinforcement, the daily choice that carves new pathways. So in shamanic transcendence therapy, we see integration as three things: digesting the experience like food so that it becomes nourishment, translating the vision into embodied action, and anchoring the soul transformation into body and mind, so that we can really feel that journey from three different angles, all integrated into one. And this is why this module is the threshold moment, is where you stop being a student of techniques and begin becoming the weaver of your own beautiful magic and wisdom for all of your clients. So let's look at theories and archetypes of integration. Let's deepen this with some archetypal and psychological wisdom. Carl Jung spoke of individuation. He said, we do not become whole by chasing the light, but by bringing the shadow into the light. Remember that there's no shadow unless there is a light cast in it. So integration means welcoming what we've hidden, is about really acknowledging all those faults, all those things that perhaps we feel make us broken, but actually have been part of our journey and our makeup and everything that we are. That is why when anger, grief, or shame arises in our work, the work isn't over when it surfaces. The work is in learning how to hold it and live with it consciously. Joseph Campbell mapped the hero's journey. He showed that every initiation has three stages: a departure, an initiation, and a return. And in Fed's terms, that is align, create, and rise, of course. And the return is when the most of us stumble. We love the journey, we love the wisdom, but we resist coming back and doing the washing up, paying the bills, living differently, all of those things that feel like chores. But actually, that is where the goodies are. And yet, that's the gold. That's the goal we're looking for. So integration is the hero's return. Without it, the community never receives the gift. So modern trauma research also echoes this. Polyvagal theory tells us that we must return to a state of safety before we can integrate. So the beautiful experiences that the people have sometimes with plant medicine, with breath work, with a sound bath or whatever, might be sometimes triggering. But when we relax, when we start, looking at all of it from a safety point of view, we can really extract the wisdom. Somatic experiencing tells us that trauma is unfinished survival energy, and healing isn't complete until that energy discharges and the nervous system resets. And in the Celtic shamanic tradition, we see the archetype of the weaver. The weaver gathers all the threads of pain, joy, vision, and memory and spins them into a tapestry. Without the weaver, the threads remain tangled. So we really, really need to bring it all back together into wholeness, for us to be able to see everything, to be able to understand it and to feel it, to live it. So with the weaver, a new identity is born, and we can actually actualize, and we can reframe, and we can create and manifest other realities. So I'd like you to pause the video if you're watching on repeat and just have some reflection here. Which of these lenses speaks most to you right now? Are you being called to integrate a shadow part? Is there something within you that is stirring right now, listening to me? To return with your gifts, you need to look at what is your shadow and what the messages are. So to regulate and find safety in yourself, what is it that you need? Or to weave together the threads of your own story, what are all those beautiful, beautiful elements that have brought you here? So let me tell you what happens without integration. I've seen it so many times. So a client comes out of a session radiant, glowing, or from a retreat, I've had the most amazing experience. It was beautiful. Look at all the pictures, and the heart is wide open. But they go straight back to work or to their family the next day. And within a week, the glow has dimmed and they feel like they lost something. And they go back to maybe retreat hop or to chase another experience or more plant medicine or whatever it is, because they're still seeking that feeling of what they had at that point, but they have not integrated it. Or someone fasts, has a vision of their true calling, but doesn't write it down and doesn't ritualize it, don't do anything with it. Okay, so within weeks, the vision feels like a dream they can't quite recall. And what happens then? So a student as well feels bliss after the sound bath, but without grounding, they tumble back into the old addictions and patterns that they've always been in. Okay, so this is what you're going to be experiencing with those people that are going to come to your beautiful offerings. And you want to make sure that those experiences and everything that they have received from you lasts. So the experience was real. The healing was real. But without integration, it doesn't last. So this is why integration is not optional. It's the very heart of our ethical responsibility as practitioners to make sure that it's done, and to make sure that it's done correctly, and to make sure that our participants are coming along for that journey, because that is the one that matters. So let's talk about the 5 principles of integration. There are 5 principles you need to hold close. So first of all, it's time. Healing needs a sacred pause. Think of it like digestion. If you ate a feast, would you sprint straight after? Would you go for a big run? Would you go, for going on a roller coaster straight after? No, you'd rest and let the body absorb. Experiences are the same. So we need to really give it time. Secondly, is about safety. The nervous system must return to a place of regulation. No excitement, no fear, just back to normal peace. Without safety, the inside collapses. Safety can be as simple as a grounding walk, or a warm bath, or being witnessed by someone who sees you, going back home to your safe environment and having a nice rest, or a chat with your loved ones. It can be all the same as long as the person feels safe. Then we have expression, and is the inner experience that needs an outer form. So writing it down, drawing, dancing, singing to really embody it. Expression makes the experience coherent so that it is still present and alive. And then we want to go to ritual. Every rite of passage needs a closing. Without ritual, the psyche feels unfinished. So ritual doesn't need to be complicated, like lighting a candle, a prayer, a stone buried with intention can be enough. Some people I witnessed, at the end of a ceremony will go to pour the water from the ceremony and give it back to the land. It could be that you want to go with a smudge stick that you prepared and bless your home. It could be that you want to journal, and or maybe you want to write something and then set it alight and send the smoke up to the heavens. Anything like that can be really, really important and transformational to bring ritual into the integration process. And next, we want to also think about support. Humans are wired for co-regulation, so integration in isolation is fragile, whereas integration in community is strong. So that's why peer circles, accountability partners, and community sharings are vital. So whether it is the awful telegram that people despise because it's too busy, there are too many messages, just think that is part of integration, is part of getting that flow going between people. Whether you do that, or it could be a Zoom call after the retreat, or whether it is a group on Facebook where people can come back and share, or maybe asking people to give you a review. That's still part of getting some support and externalizing that experience. So I'd like you again to pause here and ask yourself, which of these 5 do I practice the most, and which do I avoid? Is there some room for me to grow? And that awareness alone is a doorway to deeper integration for yourself, not just of other processes, discourse, and experiences that you might have, but for your clients too. Okay, so now let's look at core practices: body, mind, and soul. So let's ground this into a practice where we work with integration on 3 different levels. So from a body point of view, the altar of the soul, we want to ground with food, sleep, breath, movement, water rituals, everything that you've learned to heal the body. Secondly, we want to go to the mind. So the storyteller, journal, reframe, map breakthroughs, anchor with affirmations, plan with vision boards, anything really that is going to embed everything into the mind. And also the soul. So the weaver, let's use ritual, nature, gratitude, altars, prayers, so there's so many different things that you can bring into this. Each one matters. Together they form a stool with 3 legs. Take one leg away, and the stool wobbles. With all 3, there is balance. So let's look at a body example. After a cacao ceremony, one client couldn't sleep for 2 nights. Their energy too high, maybe they felt the medicine really working through them, and only when they ate grounding foods, stretched and journaled, their system actually settled back down. Their heart stayed open, but now it was embodied. Yeah, so it really, really felt it present and could go back to relax and sleep. Let's look at a mind example. So one student journaled every day after the modules, maybe you know who you are, and repeating the phrase, I am safe to express my voice. And 30 days later, they reported no longer freezing in conversations. A simple written ritual rewired their nervous system through the power of affirmations and journaling. How beautiful and simple is that? Yet that is a great example of integration. So let's look at a soul example as well. One of my previous course participants journaled right the way through the course, beautiful insights, lots of beautiful knowledge that they had, that they really took on board, but nevertheless they still wanted to journal. And they decided to go and bury the journal under a tree and planted a rose bush on top. So each year when the rose blossoms, they have that reminder of their journey, and that is beautiful integration. I get goosebumps right now thinking about it. Here I would like to share a model for integration, the 7-day integration map. So I want to give you a simple tool that you can return to again and again. And this is absolutely fantastic and beautiful and easy to put in place. So it's the 7-day integration map. Each day you choose one practice for your body, one for your mind, and one for your soul. Some people like to keep it the same. Yeah, some people like to do the same thing over and over, and that becomes a ritual in itself. And some other people might want to switch it up. But to give you some examples, it could be the day one, it could be that you eat roots and soup, you journal, what did I release, and then you light a candle for closure. Day 3 could look like doing some breath work to reset, map an old pattern into a new belief, and build a small altar. So that's another practical example of another day. Let's look at another one. Maybe day 6, I could go into an early night rest, write what am I resisting, what is coming up for me, and do a fire ritual. So the point isn't to be perfect. The point is rhythm. It's about integration as a dance, so that I keep going with this wisdom, with this knowledge, with everything that I've experienced. And it's the repetition, not the intensity, that makes it stick, because I'm constantly reminding myself of everything that I've experienced. So again, I would like you to pause and reflect on your transition here. This is a moment of reflection indeed. So you walked through 7 modules. Think about that. Oof, I get the goosebumps already thinking about the journey that you've had so far. You've learned to alter states, to master energy, to journey, to use naturopathic tools, to embody somatic wisdom, and to work with neurolinguistic programming. I'm going to cry in a minute. Literally, I feel so proud of everything that you've done so far. So pause and ask yourself, what am I most proud of from module 1 to 7? Which were the challenges? What stretched me the most? And what contracted me the most? What did I find the most uncomfortable? How am I different now as a person, not just as a practitioner? And what seed do I want to carry into the therapist training, your next journey? So module 7 is a sacred threshold. You are completing your space holder cycle, and you're stepping into the path of therapist in training. So excited, so exciting for you. That means moving from learning to embodying, from holding presence to facilitating transformation, from personal healing to guiding others. So I really would love for you to pause and ponder everything that this journey has been for you and set an intention for your future journey. So take time to celebrate yourself. Come and share in school, in Telegram, what you are honoring of your growth, and review the practices. Complete your reflections. Anything that is outstanding, go and finish off. Create your integration map for what this journey has been so far. And this is your sacred pause before the next ascent. So you are no longer the same person who began this training. You are a space holder, and the therapist path is calling for you to come forward. So I am proud of the medicine. I am so proud of the medicine you carry, and I can't wait to walk the next part of this path with you. So, Awen Arkilch, Awen, we are all one. See you on the other side.